In 1795, the Hudson's Bay Company established a major fur trading post along the North Saskatchewan River and named it Edmonton House. It would be renamed Fort Edmonton and relocated several times over the ensuing years. Then, in the shadow of the recently completed Alberta legislature, and having outlived its useful purpose, it was dismantled in 1914 for the last time. Between 1914 and 1966, the city of Edmonton's population would grow from 72,000 to over 381,000. By then, Canada had survived 2 world wars, and in 1966 was on the eve of its 100th birthday. That year, on the occasion of the club's 50th anniversary, Mr. Sam Dixon, chairman of the original organizing committee in 1916, suggested rather passionately that the club do something to establish a memorial of Fort Edmonton.
Various people in the club were talking about it, and people like Archie Dixon and Sam Dixon, when he was still around, they were keen on seeing something developed in whether it was called Fort Edmonton Park or whatever it was called at the time, but they recognized there was a need for this kind of a project.
After years of trying to generate interest, Sam was convinced that this was the perfect time to finally establish a Fort Edmonton memorial. His ace in the hole was a well-respected Edmontonian, businessman, and Rotarian, then club president Merrill Edwin Wolfe.
He was a terrific leader. He made the idea very attractive to all of us, and so we all got behind it and we supported it.
He seemed to know where he was going and what he wanted to get done.
Well, he was a car salesman. He knew how to sell an item or an idea, so he did a good job.
Merrill Wolfe may have been the face of the Rotary Club's effort, but he certainly wasn't alone. Under his leadership, many people, including Rotarians and others, unselfishly contributed their knowledge and hard-earned money to ensure that Sam Dixon's dream of Fort Edmonton Park would be realized.
There were a lot of movers and shakers that were in Edmonton that were members of the Downtown Rotary Club at the time, and they could get things done if you wanted to have something happen.
They had some powerful guys. You got to remember that Rotary was all the major business people. If they didn't do the work themselves, they knew how to get it done.
Fort Edmonton Park was a great idea, but ideas can sit for a long time, and it does take that person to come and say, okay, now we've got the idea, let's get it done. And the credit goes to those guys who said, let's get it built.
It wasn't about, can we get it done? It's, we're going to do it. And they did.
50 years ago, Fort Edmonton Park was but a dream. One Rotarian's wish to share his pride of a young city and its proud and strong people. The park today is an historically authentic living museum that reminds its citizens that dreams do indeed come true.
When this project came up, there was all the excitement to build it, and there was the money to build it because things were growing and because people were enthusiastic, and they sort of seemed to realize that they either did it in this moment or the moment would pass.
The determination was made early on to try to do things as authentically as possible. So get a bunch of men together. There were axemen from Germany who were involved in the project. There was a fellow from Métis colony in northern Alberta who came down to run the horses, and they moved everything, the timbers by a horse team. They were using block and tackle to raise walls. It was a really strong commitment to trying to do it the right way.
Rotary's strong commitment to community service established the identity of Fort Edmonton Park. Over the years, several Rotary clubs have undertaken various significant projects within the park, both large and small.
The wonderful thing that Fort Edmonton Park offered people is a chance to participate in the history. The wonderful thing about the Rotary Club's Harvest Fair was that here was a history that many people had some connection to that they could go and then participate in at the fort.
On the prairies, there's such a movement of people from other places and other cultures, and unless we show them where we came from, it's very hard to feel any attachment to a place, I think.
Community is the central theme of Fort Edmonton Park, and how a group of people in an unlikely place can make a million-person city in little more than 100 and some odd years. It's an extraordinary story, and Fort Edmonton Park can help you to understand something which we may take for granted, but is really a very vitally important story to understand.
Fort Edmonton Park would not exist as it is today without Rotary's initiative and leadership.
The Selkirk Hotel on the 101st Street and Jasper Avenue corner was originally called the Windsor Hotel when it was first built. And then the business building that was built next to it was known as the Windsor Block. When the Windsor Hotel became the Selkirk Hotel, the Windsor Block remained the Windsor Block.
The construction of the Windsor Block and the Albion Block on 1920 Street will complete the block between the Selkirk Hotel and Capitol Theatre. Not only will this exciting new project fill the hole between two existing buildings, it will also fill the need for a mid-sized dining facility to host groups of up to 250 people.
There is no other facility at the park like this, so the addition to the Hotel Selkirk would be able to accommodate groups that are looking for a facility like that. So from a business standpoint, it just makes total sense.
We're looking at that redevelopment of the entire 1920s area of being a retail, dining, and entertainment zone, where we'll have lots of opportunities for people to be able to come down and stay, enjoy restaurants, enjoy clubs and stuff like that, to be able to really see what vibrant Edmonton was like back in the 1920s.
I think as Rotarians, it's not only an opportunity, but it's a responsibility that we have to maintain that connection and to be a big part and fabric of Fort Edmonton.
We're fortunate enough within our board of directors to have a member, Jeff Polovic, that's involved with Rotary, that saw a need and a desire to get Rotary back involved at Fort Edmonton Park.
When Jeff Polovic initially met with Gord Deeks and I to share his thoughts about creating something at Fort Edmonton, it took about 2 seconds for me to say. It was just a no-brainer. To me, it was really important that all the clubs came up with a concept and an idea and a project together that we could collaborate on and quite frankly become better Rotarians and do something better for our community than just one club could do.
I'm hoping that the opening of this building will coincide with a much larger celebration of 100 years of Rotary in Northern Alberta. I'm also hopeful that the Rotary District Office will be located here on a permanent basis.
It does open up a new page on Rotary's involvement at the fort.
This is something that, again, having that presence here, having Rotary involved, just shows how important Fort Edmonton Park is to the community.
And I think Rotary, by being involved there again more, which I hope is the case, will light a little fire under it and make Fort Edmonton a place that people from around the world will want to come and see. Yeah, it's just a great project.
Rotarians just want to be the vehicle that provides this type of project to the park.
It's such a great concept that it was a far-fetched dream at one time.